I don't know what that was. All right, it's Tuesday night. We're back with another episode of Gold Hardens and Fights on. And finally, actually, to start this off, we have news that broke before we did our podcast instead of after,
Let's
which
go.
that never ever happens. So we're pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
And then we also do have, I think, 4 teams remaining that, all honesty, I did not do my homework like I promised I would.
We have 5 teams remaining. But
5 teams. You lied to me.
I did not. I believe I told you the 5 teams.
Well, you guys did 4 the first time, and there's 9 teams in the conference.
See?
I know, but
even he knows. I mean, it just really represents the fact that you clearly did not do your homework like you said you were going to and then failed to do.
We got a handful of teams.
No. We named off the 4, and then you said, oh, apparently we did Arizona State. So that's 5.
Yeah, and then I said we didn't do Denver. We didn't do Denver, though.
Oh,
so it went back
I
to 5.
Read that message because I don't pay attention to what you send me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't do homework. You
guys did a very deep dive into Arizona State.
Yeah, because we had. I knew. See, we should have known we did Arizona State because we had what's his noodle on after they got their pro player, Tom.
Come on. Yeah, I was gonna say know his name.
After they cheated.
Yeah, after they cheated and signed their pro player. However, I think Omaha is the real cheater because they have more pros, and they don't even let you know that their guys played pro hockey. They're sneaky little cheaters. So, yeah.
But anyway, the big news that we're going to start off with, I think, as you and I talked about, Wes, is the new playoff format.
So it's not format; it's the new system
not format, but the selection format.
Yeah.
The rating.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like how they're doing that.
I mean, it's
from everything that I've seen.
So what I've seen is it doesn't change a whole lot. I need to find where I sent those things. I need things. There's things that I found for people. A whole lot doesn't change. Some of the criteria actually stays the same. Some of it kind of breaks down a little better. I know you kind of really had to take a deep dive into it to figure out what exactly was talked about because the screenshot that was going around doesn't really clear anything up. And there's a pretty solid, while they don't mention hockey too much, there's a very good breakdown from a couple years ago when Division 3 switched to what is now the NPI formatting. And a couple of brothers broke it down really well. In fact, let me find out what that is called so I can give you the right information here. Don't you make noise. Nope. Okay. We'll wait for the ad to play on YouTube because I don't pay for YouTube because I'm not about that life. Come on. But they break it down.
Noises.
Because I guess Div 3 uses it for all sports. But it is...
Oh, yeah, Division 3,
Yeah, it is the D3 datacast from a year ago, unpacking NPI new tournament selection metric for Division 3 sports. It is the podcast on YouTube that goes in depth into it and kind of gives an idea as to what even the formula looks like for the new formatting. Let's see. I think there's a couple big things. So they're taking out head-to-head record does not, I don't think it's factored at all, or if it's factored, it's factored extremely minimally. Common opponents, I believe, does not factor in anymore. You have to have a minimum of 12 wins count before you can start taking out wins that will, like, say, like Western, when they're ranked number 1, if they beat, like, whoever literally the last place team in the standings is, right? That win's not going to do a whole lot to help Western in the rankings. Granted, if they're number 1, the number 1 team kind of gets shafted in a lot of this, but that win especially does not boost their rating. In fact, it could hurt their rating and rank them lower. If they had 12 wins, or 13 wins, they could essentially throw that win out and it wouldn't count against them or for them. I think they can also throw out some of the losses that don't help you. But I know that one of the big ones is you have to have 12 wins count before you can start farting around with them. Overtime wins no longer count for 2/3 of a win. They're just 0.6 of a win. A loss is 0.4 of a win as opposed to a third as it used to be. Home wins only count for 0.8 of a win, while a road win counts as 1.2 wins in the ranking system. I think those are kind of the big points.
I think
and then during the playoffs, a overtime win or loss is all or nothing as far as the rankings go. So those tournament wins to break up those last few seeding spots if you don't win your tournament outright, or even if you do to find those last couple spots, it's all or nothing if you go to overtime. So last year's Penrose Cup final game, Western would have taken a full win and Denver would have gotten 0 for that in the calculations for seeding there.
It would have been Penrose because Penrose is regular season. That would have been the Frozen face-off tournament.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I thought you were talking about that last game against North Dakota last year at first, but then you said Denver.
Yeah, no. I meant the Frozen face-off one. The double overtime win in Minnesota would have been a full win for Western under the new statistics.
I think one of the things that I do like though is they're eliminating the fact that you have to be above 500 to be considered for an at-large bid, because some of these independent teams, they might be playing a tough schedule and they might not be winning a whole lot, but with this formula, they could maybe get an at-large bid versus the previous. It's at least like, hey, you're 12 and 14. We'll just say you still have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of under 500 teams in the running. Really, I think what it does is it opens an opportunity for an extra Big Ten team or an extra Hockey East team or even potentially kind of a mid-tier NCHC team to potentially get there. But if you're below 500, you're not necessarily going to be sitting at one of those bubble spots and you're hoping for underdogs to win their tournaments to have or you're hoping for favorites to win the tournament to have a shot, right? Like the at-large bids go to the teams, the remaining highest ranked teams after tournaments have been decided. So, to me, what it seems like they're trying to do is they're also trying to open up an opportunity for these big name kids that are coming from the CHL, that are the big NIL money guys, to make it to the postseason and have a few more games to earn their money that they're being paid, to help grow the name of college hockey a little bit more. You know, kind of like the 8-9 play-in games of the NBA season when it seemed like the Lakers weren't potentially going to make the postseason. Then randomly, we're going to have a play-in tournament now. And look at that. LeBron James is once again in the NBA playoffs and a shot at a championship. It kind of has that.
It wasn't the NBA. It was LeBron. They wanted LeBron.
Well, I think they also did it when I think it might have started kind of when Zion Williamson was coming into the league and wasn't dealing with the injuries, but
the plan was only like 2-3 years ago.
So, I mean, Zion's in his 4th year and had one solid year where he wasn't unhealthy though.
He was pre-COVID, I think.
Yeah, but he hasn't. I don't think he's ever played a full season to where he's even been near the playoffs. And 1 year he did. Anyway, but it has that feel to me. Like you're trying to create these opportunities for these players who are being paid thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to be like, hey, look, this guy, he's in the tournament. We're getting him there. You know, if Penn State has a shit year and they end up 14 and 18 or whatever, you know, like they're going to push to figure out how to get Penn State in that tournament because they're a big name. The rumor is that now the Penn State at Arizona State games are going to be on NHL Network potentially, which I don't know why it's still a rumor. Aren't those games this weekend? Like, can we nail that down so people can, I don't know, plan to watch it or not? But yeah, to me, it has a little bit of that feel to it.
I think with it, if they are, I don't know, I haven't paid attention enough. That's kind of what we talked with Tom and Paul and Brent. Like, why are you not pushing these guys? You even brought it up too, Wes. I'm not just giving credit to those guys. You have this highly touted player that's supposed to be the next great one. Why are you not pushing him on NHL Network, giving them that national stage? And we should be doing that every single week with all these highly touted players. You look at Michigan a few years ago, what they had 5 first rounders, 6 first rounders, whatever it was. Minnesota's had
top 10.
As much as I hate to say it. You have all these highly touted prospects and you're not pushing them. Do it. Get Hockey East involved. Get Atlantic Hockey involved, or the ECAC, even though it might not be the best hockey in the world. They're still D1 athletes, and there are still good players that come out of those conferences.
I think this format really helps the Alaska teams. They're just sitting out there with no conference to be in. And the last couple of years, I mean, what is it? Anchorage has been right there, and they get screwed at the last minute by some team that wins their tournament.
I think it might be Fairbanks. Is Fairbanks who Western played?
We played them both recently.
Yeah.
I think Fairbanks was one, though, that they ended up like 17th or 18th in the pairwise.
Yeah. I mean, they were right there at the last minute, and then some team magically makes a run and kicks them out.
And that's kind of my point with it helps the independent schools.
Yeah.
The Alaska teams are the ones that, I guess Lindenwood would be another one now with who they're playing, that they could benefit from this versus the pairwise, and they're like, well, sorry, you didn't play in the conference. Screw you guys.
I want that to be the case, but I just don't know that it is, just because you're still missing out on 3 weeks worth of games. If you're an independent school, your season ends the beginning of March instead of the mid to end of March. We're not expanding the tournament any to allow for those teams. We're not like cutting out a caveat like the expansion of the football playoff did, where now you have to have the highest rated Power 5. It's not like they're going, we'll take the top 6 or the 6 national or the 6 conference champions get the auto bid, plus the highest ranked independent, and then the others will be dispersed amongst the remaining at large. Like, that's not the process. We're not creating an opportunity for these independent schools. We're just changing the plus and minus of the games that are already played and still counting those playoff games that are advantageous to conference teams more than they are disadvantageous to the fact that independent teams aren't playing them. Maybe they're healthier, but they don't have those opportunities at all. We're not creating a new balanced opportunity for those teams.
Would you, because obviously you're independent, so even in football, like Notre Dame, they're independent. In hockey, though, would you be open to including the highest ranked independent school amongst the conference winners as an automatic bid to grow the game and maybe pull these schools into a conference, or just give kids more of an incentive where they're not going to a North Dakota, they're not going to a BU, they're not going to a Michigan or a Minnesota, that they can still have this opportunity to play in the tournament.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense. And it might, where do a lot of the independent schools, what do? They get decent players who weren't invited somewhere else. They get them for maybe a year or two. Then that player goes, well, I want a shot at a championship, and I'm really not going to get it here. So the first opportunity I can, I'm hitting the transfer portal, and I'm going to go to a North Dakota, a Denver, a BC, a BU, if they'll take them. And then, those independent teams, they lose a lot of that talent again anyway, if it becomes top-end talent. They just become a feeder system to the conferences.
I mean, that's kind of what happened to Arizona State before they came into the NCHC. I mean, Felter left them for North Dakota. They had a couple other guys a couple years ago that were really, really good too. So
I think with Felter, though, the weird part is he left right before they were joining the conference. So he knew they were joining the NCHC.
The goalies at ASU, I mean, they have other things going on, I think.
Yeah.
But, that just seems to be the thing, though, is I don't know that the independents are really going to benefit from this any more than they do now, and there's still just such a huge disadvantage to being an independent school.
I think there's a slight advantage. I don't think it's going to be greatly beneficial, but like we just said, I think we need to include the independents because hockey's already such a niche sport, and if we want to grow it, we want to grow all the schools. As much as you might not like a school getting good at hockey, we want to grow the game and grow college hockey. Give the independents a shot. They're the ones that are sitting there taking these games against the Blue Bloods when they have an open weekend. Lindenwood independent for a while. The Alaska teams, Arizona State was independent for a while.
Long Island.
Yep, Long Island. Stony Brook, I think, is another one that's independent.
I don't know how well their program's doing right now, though, but
and it strengthens all of those programs if there's a shot at a tournament spot on the line, and teams will start scheduling them more consistently. They're not just going to be like the filler squad that you're hoping at the end of the day maybe you're crossing that win off and you're not using it towards in the new system or whatever, because it actually hurts you more to play them and beat them than it does to not play them at all. And so you're just like, all right, well, we just won't schedule them. We'll figure out how to schedule Denver or Arizona State because those teams matter a little more. So you're still cutting off the independents. We're not making college hockey as a whole any better by not including those teams. Oh, we forgot to mention that joining us once again is the very first president of the Lost and Lunatic Student Organization and fellow Bronco, Mike Schatzley. So welcome to the show. Sorry we forgot to introduce you, but he's there down there somewhere on your screen, on your viewing screen.
He's here over there.
On their screens, he's somewhere else, but on the screen that you're all seeing, he's right there.
So that means you're up there.
Yeah. But all right, let's jump into the topic of the day. We've got some teams to get through. We're gonna save the best one for the last, which is Western Michigan, and we're gonna go to Miami.
I can't even argue with that one at this point.
Let's go to Miami. They're a bit interesting. This is second year under head coach Noreen. They have played in the portal quite a bit this year. But they have 6 seniors, 3 actual seniors, 3 grad students. I just lump them all under seniors when I'm talking about them because it's easier. A couple of guys to note here. Defenseman Nick Donato did not play in the 2023-2024 season. However, he has spent time under head coach Noreen when he was with the UHL Tri-City. In fact, between the players brought in this year as either freshmen or transfers, he has 5 players who have ties to his UHL team, whether he coached them at the USHL level, was responsible for signing them or drafting them or preparing Tri-Cities for them. So he is spent some time looking for familiar faces from his junior days to coach. And we'll see if that brings him any success. They only have 2 juniors. Neither one of them at Miami before this year. Doug Grimes transfers from BU, having played in the making it to the Frozen Four, playing in that national title game for BU against Western Michigan. And Mateo Giampa from Canisius, who actually led Canisius in his 2 years there in scoring and served as an assistant captain for them last year. They have 8 sophomores, led by a couple more transfers. Ryan Smith transferring from Quinnipiac, spent 2 seasons with Noreen at Tri-City, and defenseman Vladislav Lukashevich from Michigan State also played for Tri-City, recording 43 points in 54 games with them. And 12 freshmen, their biggest class. 8 played in the USHL, 3 played in the CHL, and 1 played in the NAHL, including Sean McEwen, who played for, you guessed it, Tri-City, and was a multi-season captain for Noreen in his time there. So again, lots of familiar faces that he has found through the portal and through recruiting. We'll see how it works out, if that familiarity transfers over to college hockey, or if it's more of the same for Miami.
I mean, there's not a whole room to go down if you're Miami for what they've had.
You are right.
They can't do much worse, can they?
They did not win a single conference game last year.
They can only go up. They can stay the same or go up. I mean, I guess they could go completely winless, but
I mean, they were not far from it last year either.
No,
but they had what, 4 wins or 2 wins or something like that?
3.
Yeah, it was single digits.
Low single digits.
But no, I mean, I don't know. I think that's really kind of the first time I've seen a coach like recruit that hard for previous players, and to some degree. I mean, I guess when PJ Fleck left Western Michigan, he took about 9 players to Minnesota with him, including a couple, freshman recruits. Did we lose Mike?
No, I'm here.
The other Mike?
Oh, the other Mike.
He seems to have froze. I don't know if it's his internet or mine. Maybe he'll come back. But yeah, so I don't know. Miami's got to figure something out. They have lived at the bottom of the conference for too long now. There he is.
Well, I mean, maybe looking at their roster, oh boy, my Russian's going to be tested here. Shika Gachiev, freshman goaltender. He's from Dagestan. Mm-hmm. Also know who is from Dagestan. Khabib. Maybe he'll bring a little bit of toughness to that team. But yeah, they're going to be in a tough spot again. Just trying to blend these personalities together, being so young. There are a couple of kids that grew up playing hockey together, I'm assuming, in Orono, who was a very good team and was coached. It might have been after their time, but Mark Parrish, NHL All-Star, he was the coach, NHL Network. They could build some chemistry, but I think it's going to be a long time coming still. They just, it's going to be the slow build.
Yeah, I at this point, I mean, hopefully they kind of have a similar trajectory without the injuries that Minnesota Duluth had last year. A young team that kind of picks it up at the end with some experience. You're really going to lean on those seniors and 2 juniors to hopefully lead this team. But very inexperience heavy on with 12 freshmen experiencing NCHC hockey for the first season.
Yeah, and their elder statesman at goalie is a sophomore. So
I did not record anybody who was an important loss, because they might be addition through subtraction this year, because Can't get much worse, you know?
Yeah, if I would say if they can reach 8 wins and they're competitive in most games, that would be good because the previous few years when they had Person, they were competitive, but it was because of him.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, okay, can the team be competitive? And their goalie doesn't give up a lot of goals, but they actually look like a competent team. They're just not quite there.
Yep. I think a lot of the teams are
Yep.
kind of young this year. I mean, 6 seniors is a pretty hefty class for what seems like this season. But Denver, kind of a team known for having quite a few seniors, only has 3 this year. Ken Anderson, Samu Salaminen, who spent 2 years at UConn before coming, and 2 years at Denver. So this is his 5th year. No, this is his 2nd season at Denver. I can't even read my own handwriting. Good thing I took notes.
Yeah.
And Rieger Lorenz, who enters his 4th season at Denver. 8 juniors, 5 sophomores, and 10 freshmen. And really, I think this team might be one of the teams that has kind of some of the biggest losses. They lose Zeev Buyam after 2 years. He joins the Wild. Played only 1 year after his brother left for the Detroit Red Wings. So, I think combined they only spent 3 seasons at Denver between the two of them. They lose Freddie Halleck to the transfer portal, who played some. What?
I was going with as much as Bouillon played last year, played 2 seasons and 1.
Yeah, pretty much. They lost Freddie Halleck, who played in net for them for a pretty good stretch, to the transfer portal. They lose their top 4 goal scorers in Jack Devine, Aiden Thompson, Zeev Buyam, and Carter King. So a lot of offense to replace out there. They do have junior goaltender Paxton Geisel, who actually joined the team about halfway through his freshman season. When they were riddled with injuries in 2023, he picked up his first win in his debut start against Western Michigan because, why wouldn't he? However, did not play last year. He did serve as a backup, but ended up with a lower body injury that resulted in surgery, ending his season for the most part, but did return to serve as a backup for that NCHC semifinal against ASU in Minnesota last year. Their highest returning scorer is junior forward Sam Harris, who had 35 points last year. He's also the returning goal scorer with 23 goals. And Eric Polkamp, who tied him in points at 35 in returns after picking up 24 assists last year. So they do have a couple bright spots offensively, but still a lot to replace losing the guys that they did.
Well, and I think the thing with Polkamp, he's a elder statesman defenseman as a junior, and that's going to help build up their back end.
Yeah.
And if we've learned anything throughout the years since Carl's taken over, they don't rebuild, they reload.
Yep, that was going to be my point. I was actually hoping you were going to phrase something extremely differently, so I was hoping, and I was already laughing in my head that you would, but you didn't.
We'll have to go back to that after.
We can talk about that after the show, if I remember. But no, I mean that's something that Carl has definitely been able to do, is create solid team and not necessarily replace those guys, but find guys to fill those roles and create a new team that is still competitive and strong, even if it's a little bit different. So we'll see if he can do it again.
And I think that it almost speaks volumes. I don't want to turn this into a Denver love fest, but it speaks volumes to him as a coach, because you look at what happened with Barry in North Dakota, and you look at even what UMD has gone through. We went through a great period, the late 2010s. It's like, oh, we're reloading. But then there's a fall off. Denver, since Carl took over, they actually are reloading. There has been no drop off. They're always at the top of the league. They're not sitting there, okay, we're gonna finish second this year, seventh this year, fourth this year. It's impressive what he's built there, and the guys that he brings in, because he knows what type of team he wants to coach, and he brings in the perfect guys. Even if you know what type of team you want to coach, you're not sure what the players you're getting in. He has not missed. He just hasn't. And I hate to say it, but he's good at every aspect of the college game.
Yeah, and I mean he's a young guy, so he does has a connection to the players, you know, being not too far removed for the game. I mean, almost 20 years now, but when he first kind of took over, it was a lot closer. But still a guy who can pull from his own experiences, having played at Denver, been successful at Denver. You know, really kind of impressing upon guys just how quickly this can be taken away from you, and use that as a motivating factor of getting guys together, and understanding that even though a team has an opportunity to go back to back like they did they could have gone last year or whatever, that every new opportunity is a once in a lifetime team. It's, you know, look how many guys left from Western. Like, it's going to be a brand new team again this year as it was last year and in the year before. So his experiences have definitely helped him become the coach that he is, and turned an already great program into one of the top historically and of the last 10 years.
Yeah, and I mean, they're the first to 10, which I wish it wasn't them, but I would way rather it be them than any of the others, like the school in Ann Arbor for you guys. That'd be more insufferable than Denver.
I mean, they're already insufferable, and they haven't won a championship in almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm. So I'll take Denver over that, and keeping that history going, because I respect them as a program.
Speaking of, you mentioned Denver or North Dakota there. They're next up on the block. First season under head coach Dane Jackson, who takes over after Bradbury was released at the end of the year.
We still called it.
Still called it. I don't know that we called it. We just said how hot is his seat, and it proved to be hotter than I think some were willing to allow it to be.
The most connected person.
Hey, sometimes maybe you're a little too close. Okay.
Hey, I could give him a hard time because his mom grew up basically kitty corner from where I was.
Are you just going to bring that up every time Brad Schlossman is mentioned?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to be prepared for it.
Yep.
They kind of had a roller coaster of an off season. They failed to make the NCAA tournament. They did make it to St. Paul. They made the conference semifinals, lost to eventual champion Western Michigan University. Lose their head coach, lose a couple prominent guys on the team that they were hoping would be kind of pillars of the young class as it moved through. One being Sasha Boisvert, who came in and was the top scorer and goal scorer for the team last year as a freshman. They also lose Owen McLaughlin, who I think both went to BC or BU. I know they went to a Boston school. Who was first in assists last year, so they're basically their top line or top producing line left. They also lose 8 of their 9 most used forwards on their power play, which was a stat that Brad mentioned today in a post about I think he's assistant head coach Dylan Simpson, who stayed on from the previous regime, who rebuilt that decor when they had lost their entire defense a couple years ago. Apparently he will be running the power play that has to rebuild from scratch. They do have 10 freshmen, 7 sophomores, 4 juniors, and 6 seniors or above, 4 seniors, 2 grad students. Once again, they dipped into the transfer portal for a goaltender, Gibson Homer, following in TJ Sempton-Felter's footsteps, making the trek north from ASU. They also picked up. They have Bennett Zmolik, who is in his second season after transferring from Minnesota State. Kind of had an up and down college career. I believe they named him captain. Played 33 games in 2023-2024. Only played 1 game last season before a season-ending injury, and missed 22-23 due to injury as well. So not a lot of game experience on that senior defenseman, but a guy who's respected in the locker room, within the culture of North Dakota. And then their other senior of note, at least for me, was Dylan James. He's the highest returning goal scorer, having 22 points in 38 games from 14 goals, 8 assists. Some juniors of mention, Jake Livanovich is the highest returning scorer on 4 goals, 24 assists for 28 points. Was second on last year's team in assists with 24. They also have transfer goaltender Zach Sandy, who you're familiar with from his time at UMD. Also picking up Anthony Mangini from UMD. So a couple transfers in that junior core. Max Swanson, the big sophomore who came in last year, was as one of the big name freshmen. He finished last year with 18 points, 2 goals, 16 assists. I think they're looking for a little bit more out of him. And they'll see what Will Zellers can do, as I believe is their high expectation freshman this year.
Yeah, Zellers, he's a name that I recognize from the state tournament. High-powered scorer. As most of the names that you hear during the Minnesota State tournament, they're going to be the high-powered scorers that go into Division One. Think you might have led Maple Grove to like their first state tournament. I'm not sure about that, but they were competitive. I think they're the Crimson. As far as the UMD transfers with Sandy, he's going to kind of be the third goalie like he was here. And then Mangini, he's a solid defenseman. You hear his name called a lot during games. He plays a lot. He'll eat up minutes. I think he's solid. At least North Dakota, they're not redoing their whole defensive core in front of a new goalie like they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think they'll be okay. There's a lot of new names on a lot of these teams. So overall, it seems like the conference is going to be a little more wide open and a lot of more feeling out. We still have one more team to go, but a lot of teams are close to double-digit freshmen coming in, especially after that COVID year has gone away. They're trying to replenish guys that they don't have that extra year left.
Yep. No, for sure. I mean, that's making up a lot of why I think we're seeing a lot of these younger, heavy teams. It's just because so many guys kind of aged out with that 5th year of COVID, taking up some guys' spaces or giving guys opportunities elsewhere. That you really had to build these big freshman classes to account for all the transfers in the last couple years. But side note, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, I think that, and added with the new CHL rules, it really created a lot of space for newer, younger players to make rosters.
Side note here, I guess this article came out almost an hour ago, but of the 21 new players at Miami, 15 of them have worn a letter at somewhere. So Noreen has made an effort to look for leadership guys and guys that he's familiar with. So
that'll be kind of
18 different player total have either been a captain or assistant captain somewhere in their junior or college teams before going to Miami.
I can see that going one of two ways. Either working really well or absolutely tanking because all these guys think they're leaders and you can only have a finite amount of guys wearing a letter that they're all going to be competing and just absolutely hate each other. There's no in between, I think, in this. They're all going to work really well and build each other up, or they're just going to be infighting amongst everyone.
Yeah, 28 guys trying to lead themselves in 28 different directions.
I wish I had that. My dad has it. It's got two bills going left and right and says, I'm their leader. Which way did they go? That's what they need.
No, yeah, that it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. But no, Mike mentioned, the CHL rules coming into effect. I don't think any team took greater advantage of that than the University of Nebraska Omaha. They had a lot of movement in the transfer portal as far as going out. Picked up 0 players from the portal this year. In fact, choosing to spend most of their recruitment time, it appears, north of the border. They have 19 Canadian players on their roster. 1 Slovakian player who I'm sure we all know who that is. 1 Swede and 5 from the U.S., 4 from Minnesota, which is really just Texas or Canada South, Canada Light, and one from Texas. Some of the big names that hit the transfer portal, though, maybe the biggest one is Tanner Ledke, who goes to the University of Minnesota. A couple freshmen, or 4 freshmen hit the portal, 3 juniors. Not a lot of guys with heavy experience. I mean, the most games played was definitely by Tanner, and he only played 8 last year because of an injury. But
wait, who's the Slovakian player?
Really? I was gonna say, if you don't know, clearly you're not paying attention to the hockey world. They do remain with 7 seniors of some sort, 2 juniors, 9 sophomore, and 8 freshmen. 7 other freshmen coming from Canada, and 1 coming from the U.S. from the great state of Minnesota. Of their 9 sophomores, only 4 played at UNO last year. Their juniors, one of which has some pro hockey experience that you will not know if you look at his bio on the University of Nebraska Omaha's website. They fail to tell you that. Aiden, we talked about him already. Aiden De La Gorgandieri, who has a name that only a mother could pronounce. It is his first season at UNO. I believe he has maybe 2 seasons of eligibility because they list him as a junior, so this year and next year. Maybe because of his age. But he played 10 games with the ECHL Atlanta Gladiators, 50 games of U Sports, which is the Canadian college equivalent, and 6 seasons in the WHL. The other...
Was he 35?
I mean, he's, 20, 24, 23, 24, 22. Somewhere between 22 and 24. I'm just hitting all the numbers in there. Can't be wrong if you say them all. Pick a number between 1 and 100. All of them. All right. The other player that had some pro experience is sophomore. First season with Omaha, listed as a sophomore, Mark LaJoy. I think is how we're going to say that. LaJoy? I don't know. He had 1 game with the Bakersfield Condors in the AHL. I think they have 5 players from the University of Alberta. coming over. So guys who are familiar with each other, kind of like what Noreen did with Tri-City. It appears that UNO is doing with Canadian hockey players from Canadian colleges. They will be led by captain goaltender Simon Letkozy, who is 44, 34, and 5 in his 3 seasons in net. He is the reigning NCHC goaltender of the year. One of the top goalies in the conference year in and year out. One of the top goalies in the country year in and year out. We'll see what all this transition looks like in front of him. Because I think they relied... he could have an off year, though, with as much as they relied on him last year. They almost made it a point of being like, if you don't have a play, just stay out of his way and let him see the puck, and he'll stop more than he lets in. And I don't know that helped him all that much last year. A couple other big names, Tyler Rollwagon and Griffin Ledke coming back. I think both wearing letters this year. And Cameron Mitchell is the returning scorer. I think in all 3 categories. I don't remember. So, but UNO, interesting team. They went Canada heavy and hope to once again lean on Slovakian goaltender Simon Letkozy.
I don't know what to think about UNO.
I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Ever?
No. It'll be interesting to see how that team comes together and how they play, and if the Canadian college style of hockey or CHL can prepare you for the college hockey game. We see exhibitions every once in a while with some of the Canadian teams, and they do not go very well. And I don't know what standard of player is on those teams, if that's kind of similar to who UNO has picked up or not, but leaning real heavy in those U Sport players.
Well, a lot of those teams are Canadian college teams, and those are not the best.
Right. That's kind of a lot of, because there are a good number of U Sport guys who have CHL experience, who just weren't the cream of the crop that went to the NHL or went to the pros in Europe, or even the minor leagues here. They went and they couldn't come to NCAA, so they went to U Sports. But how much of that game is going to transfer over, and is it a bold strategy similar to what we're seeing in other places, or because they went heavy. It's not like picking like a top player here or there like Penn State did with McKinnon, or a couple of the other schools did with top guys. They're leaning heavy into the Canadian player and hoping that it's going to be Team Canada versus the world in the Olympics or something.
I guess the main question is, because I just don't know this answer, is how many of the U Sports players were actually in the CHL, or if they were more in the second or third tier of the Canadian juniors ranks. And I do understand that if you play in any of the 3 CHL leagues, you can, until this year, you could not play in the NCAA.
Yeah.
So you had to go to Canada. But how many of those players that were not the top tier to go pro went overseas, went and played somewhere else versus going to U Sports? So that might have been the bottom of the barrel of the CHL players, and then you get the BCHL, that what's the Saskatchewan League? Even there was a team, it was the SIJHL, these bottom tier players where they maybe could have come to the NAHL and played, or maybe USHL, even them being mid tier, but they couldn't. to become NCAA eligible. I don't know how those rules work. So that's why
we've had
sports kids.
Was it major junior? Is it major juniors?
Yeah, that's what the CHL is, major junior.
Yeah.
There's one below it that's not considered. There's like a step below, and we've had players from that league, which is I think essentially like. I don't want to say it's the USHL because it's like a weird step in between. Like they can transition to the USHL and then to NCAA hockey.
Are we talking about like the null?
No. There's a step below like the CHL branches. Like was QM
double A?
It's like I think the BCHL is
there's the BCHL the I think it's like the QMJHL in Montreal or something.
No, the Q is part of the CHL because it's the Q, the W, and the O.
Oh,
those are the three CHL.
But anyway, it would feed either into those three that play for the Memorial Cup, or you could transfer over across the border and play in the American Junior Leagues or college. But if you made that step to the Q, the O, and the BCHL or the WHL,
Q, the O, the W.
Yeah, the O, W, and Q, whatever. If you jumped in there, then you couldn't come to NCAA. And then if you aged out of that, your choices were, if you were good enough, you went pro. If you weren't, you went to the U Sports. And now we're seeing a lot of these U Sports guys with the opportunity to come over and play because they had CHL experience that negated their NCAA eligibilities. And it seems like Omaha is leaning heavy into those type of guys. So we'll see how that works out for them. And like I said, if based on the exhibitions, and I don't know how good those teams were that were signing up to take exhibition games against Western Michigan, North Dakota. Duluth, I think, played one of the Canadian schools at one point.
Yeah, I think there's a school out of Thunder Bay that we play a bunch.
I don't know where those teams would rank or where these players would rank on those teams, but it'll be interesting to see how those game styles match up.
Well, and again, that's to my point, though, where even the guys that were lower that weren't good enough to go pro here, they were probably going pro overseas because they didn't have eligibility, and the guys that are playing the U Sports, not the top.
We didn't think they had eligibility, but a couple guys played full seasons of ECHL hockey and somehow have college eligibility left, and one of them will be shooting up for the Sun Devils down there in ASU, along with Cullen Potter, one of the top prospects in college hockey, who's kind of getting overshadowed by some of these CHL players.
Mm-hmm.
Only Trevor had one more year of eligibility left.
I know, right? Bring back Trevor and Cam. Bring them both back. That would be a tandem, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't trust Trevor now. Not in his play, just him as a person.
He would cause a ruckus. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. We're an hour in. Let's talk about the team that at least 2 out of the 3 of us know pretty well. That is the reigning, defending, undisputed Penrose Cup Frozen Face-Off Trophy winning NCAA Championship Western Michigan Broncos, the number 1 ranked team among most polls going into this year. The Broncos here in Kalamazoo. Couple big losses. Tim Washi, a leader on the team, leaves after a grad student year. Cam Rowe leaves after a grad student year. And Alex Bump enters the pro ranks. Hey, maybe he has a bad year this year. Maybe he maintains that year of eligibility and we bring him back. I don't know what his signing bonus was. Was it as much as it would be to play a year of college hockey? Let's start counting people's pockets and find out. Keep that on the list of things to follow along with. I'm joking. He's not coming back. No. Alex Bump goes pro with
no shot he's coming back.
The Flyers organization. I believe he scored a goal in his AHL game tonight. So playing well. He did get sent down to the AHL or played with the AHL players in camp. I think he's now in with the Phantoms, which is where I expected him to start the year. So congratulations to him on making the move. He had pretty solid luck last season at the end of the year and seems to have continued that this year. So we'll see where his career takes him. However, we do have some other guys that we can talk about here. We have four seniors and a grad student, 3 actual seniors and 1 grad student, 4 total highest upperclassmen, 8 juniors, 10 sophomores, and 6 freshmen. The junior class is really your heavy leadership class, with Captain Owen Michaels, assistant captains Cole Kreuzberg-Rosine, and second-year Bronco Grant Slukinski wearing the A, and senior assistant captain Sam Scholand playing his 4th season at Western after a redshirt freshman year. Also on that senior class are a couple of guys. Sam is actually the only senior to have played his whole career at Western Michigan. Kirk Larson takes a grad year after redshirting at Miami and spending the last 3 seasons at Western, so it's his 4th year here. Liam Valente transferred here last year after 2 seasons at Providence, and Zach Bookman transfers in for his senior year after spending the last 3 at Merrimack. Juniors, another big incoming class, 4 of them. Zach Wisdom, who we know from his time at CC. Wahlberg, Whitelaw, and Spicer, the other junior transfers. And 6 new freshmen, led by Tyler McKenzie from the WHL and Jamison Sluice? Sure. Slews. I knew you knew somebody. A couple other things here. Owen Michaels, he will be the captain this year. He was the 2025 Frozen Four most outstanding player. Him and Grant Slukinski are the returning point leaders at 36 points each. Michaels is the returning highest goal scorer with 18, while Slukinski led the team last year in assists at 26. And 7 players are returning with 25 or more points, which is more than any team that First has had since taking the reins from Andy Murray. Usually they lose a lot of offense, but they were able to maintain a lot this year. And taking over the number 1 spot in net is Hampton Slukinski after a 19-5-1 freshman season that saw him earn 1 shutout, a 1.9 goals against average, and a .922 save percentage. I think there's a reason they're ranked number 1 in a lot of polls and expected to be the number 1 team in the NCHC at the end of the year, which we know anything can really happen there, but we've said it a lot. This coaching staff has an ability to get the best out of its players, and they seem to be drawing in a new talent level, and I think that national championship last year has helped the recruiting class already and make Western even more of a place to want to go, and the future is bright with that new building downtown.
And I mean, you're number 1 until somebody knocks you off, right? There's no reason, unless your team completely imploded and it was a brand new team with no returners. I don't see why you don't put them as number 1. As much as I don't like it from a fan perspective, personally, I do hope Cole Spicer is the guy that we thought he was going to be for the Bulldogs before he left, and then that he showed he could be, then left, then decided to go to Arizona State, and then was like, nah, just kidding. I'm going to go to Western. I hope he has a great year for you guys. Nothing against the kid. He's doing what he thinks is right for him. I hope that it's not just a bunch of people talking in his ears. But I know he ended up at a great school to develop players. Not looking forward to playing Hampton in a full season when he was great in half a season, I can only imagine what he's going to do for a full season in net. You guys are a scary team again, and you have the leadership back too.
Yeah,
that it's not like, oh, these guys were sophomores and barely played. You have guys back that played a huge part in your national championship run, which is a big deal. That you look at UMD and they're back to back, and then the potential three-peat. There were guys that they were moving up in the leadership roles throughout the years, and they were teaching the younger guys, and then COVID hit, and that all hit the fan. But it's a big deal, and I think an underrated part of the whole process.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like when you look at like the Denver team that was successful, even last year, what was the big part of them was the big group that came back and stayed, the big core, the guys who they lost this year. Like those guys were a big reason why they were able to be competitive once again and find themselves in the Frozen Four. That's what kind of this Western team feels like, is the big guys who contributed late in the season are the guys coming back. And there's big name underclassmen who have an opportunity to step up and take some big minutes and step into some leadership roles. I mean, Zach Nearing played incredible last year, and he has an opportunity to earn some more playing time. Ty Henricks played extremely well last year and has an ability to build on his season. You have guys like Owen Michaels who have played as a true freshman and have now taken a leadership role, and he'll wear the C. Grant Slukinski came in and stepped right into, it seemed like he was a Bronco since day one, but he's only in his second year here and has earned the respect of the coaching staff to be granted an A. They'll also lean on the experience of the guys who are transferring in this year and what they can bring to the table. Look at the role that veteran guys who weren't necessarily here at Western for their whole careers, but guys like Kramer played. He was a big part of building up the blue line and helping Hampton have the numbers he had and Cam have such a successful year. Robbie Drasner, who had very little team success in his 4 years at Miami, but had team success here at Western and built on his individual success and earned an ECHL contract to keep him in Kalamazoo with the K-Wings. Those
you didn't mention, but Constantini transferring in. I mean, he was an absolute star for us.
Yeah, I mean, he earned an A in his final season at Western. I think he wore the A last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Constantini and was it
Washi bumped Constantini and Knuble.
Yes.
Were the four captains last year. And Knuble and Drasner are both playing with the K-Wings. Mateo signed with Buffalo, Bump with Philadelphia, and Washi with the Ducks. So, getting guys to the next level still. Huh?
Was it Tim's debut was against the Wild, or was that his second game? Yeah.
That was his first one.
Yeah, because him and Sam were out there together.
Yep. And it looks like he's got a good shot of potentially staying up with the Ducks again. I haven't seen whether he got sent to San Diego here in the last roster updates or not, but had some pretty big goals in the rookie tournament out there in California, playing well. So earned that second year contract that he picked up because he was only on the end of the year contract thing last year.
That PTO or whatever.
Yeah. But no, I think it's shaping up to be an interesting year. It can go a lot of ways. We as we see, the NCHC is never written in stone. And it'll probably come down to that last weekend again, like it seems to every year for, if not the Penrose Cup, then at least seedings. And we'll see which team will be the first to lift the National Cup in the new playoff format. Now that the former Frozen Face-Off Trophy has a new name, or a name. There's probably Mike that submitted that name too, the National Cup. You spent a lot of time with that trophy this summer.
Which Mike? Oh, me?
You.
Yeah, you.
Not me. I'm a fucking UMD fan.
no. I
a few
did
years.
not touch that trophy that often. I touched the Penrose a lot, but not the National Cup.
But so all three just chilled at Lawson all summer long. Actually, the national championship trophy got a nice little tour of
all four.
Oh yeah,
all four trophies.
Yeah, there's the regional trophy too.
You gotta remember, you gotta win the regional before you can win the natty.
No, that's true. You were right.
Hey, at least I was at the regional.
Good times. Good times. I think that's it.
You should have came to St. Louis.
Nah, Fargo was as far as I was gonna go.
What do we have for games this week? Because there are games this weekend, boys.
Oh shit.
Yes.
Western will play host to the U.S. National Development Team again for the second straight year that Western hosts them. I think this is the third year that they have played the U.S. Development Team to kick off the season.
Oh.
They were away.
They played them last year, right?
Yeah, it was home last year. I think it was away 2 years ago.
No, I don't. We didn't.
All right.
I don't remember who we played last year.
We played the U.S. Development Team. I almost guarantee it. Actually, I do guarantee it. I know we did because I was there. And 2 years ago, we played them in Plymouth. But I will look it up just to satisfy the doubters.
We're in Fairbanks this weekend.
Ooh, the long early team building trip out of the way early. I think that's how you. I mean,
we did that a couple years ago.
Yeah, I don't mind that trip early in the year like that. Like I said, it's a nice, good team bonding experience. Get the team together early.
They're the ones that they do YouTube, don't they?
Who is it? Anchorage or
no,
Fairbanks?
Fairbanks.
I don't know if Fairbanks does. I know Anchorage does. Anchorage does all of their sports.
I couldn't remember which one did it.
Go. I mean, Western's starting to do more of their sports on
YouTube.
I know Anchorage is, because that's how I watched our games up there. But yes, this is the third year that Western's played the U.S. Development Team in a row. We were at Plymouth 2 years ago and hosted them last year, and we'll host them this year. Almost a year to the day. And if the game had been as it was originally scheduled, it would have been a year to the day. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
All right, let's see here. St. Cloud plays host to Augustana in an exhibition game. Omaha hosts Air Force in an exhibition game. Colorado College is home against UConn in a full series. Probably the big games of the weekend are Penn State at Arizona State. That one, there's possibilities that one could be on NHL Network. It should at least be on NCHC TV, which almost every game this weekend, except the Alaska Fairbanks one, should be on NCHC TV if it's not somewhere else. If you're a subscriber, you're winning there. St. Cloud.
Ferris State, Miami.
Oh yeah, Ferris State takes a trip down to Miami, and Duluth up at Fairbanks. Saturday.
Go ahead.
No, what? Go ahead. What?
No, go for it.
Saturday we have the second game of Penn State versus Arizona State. Western Michigan steps on the ice for the first time, hosting the U.S. Under-18 team. St. Cloud apparently is playing one exhibition and one game that counts, hosting St. Thomas on Saturday. Weird. Okay. Doing weird things. Game 2 between UConn and Colorado College. UNLV taking on Denver again in a rematch from last year's
I was going to say that's the most
surprise
high
game.
profile game.
Keep your eyes on that one. Let's see if Denver can avenge that kind of beatdown that UNLV handed them. I don't even think that game was close.
I don't think so either.
It was like 8-1 or 7-1 or something. So maybe Denver will be on their toes for that one. Won't get caught sleeping twice. Ferris State at Miami game 2. Speaking of those U Sports teams, Manitoba making the trip south of the border to take on North Dakota in Grand Forks. See what I did there? Got south of their border, not south of the border like Mexico. It's clever. It's funny, but no one's laughing, so I'll just put that in my pocket for later. And game 2 between Minnesota Duluth and Alaska Fairbanks. So some games that count, some games that don't, some that are just exhibition for fun, and some between the old U.S. and Canada colleges. A chance to get off on the right foot and really step on it. Really, I think Arizona State probably has the best opportunity to kind of make some noise early. Colorado College and UConn. UConn was a team that made the tournament last year, so there's definitely an opportunity for them to make some noise. Penn State, a team that was in the Frozen Four last year. Don't sleep on them, and they got that big signing in McKenna. What?
They were lucky.
Ow.
They had a home ice advantage.
They did, and they rode that sumbitch to a Frozen Four opportunity and lost to BU before Western beat BU. But yeah, no, big. It's fun to have these big games early in the season, and it makes every weekend a little more interesting when you can do that, right?
Yeah, it's like the first week of college football, and you get those big games. It gets everybody excited for the season. You know, it might not last and might not come back for a couple weeks, but you know what? Start with a punch. You know, start with some excitement at least. Get people amped for the season, and then blood flowing. You're ready to go. It's a good warm up. Good warm up before a game.
Okay, so there's Canadian Major Juniors, which is the CHL. Then there's Canadian Junior A, which is the CJHL, and then U Sports, all in Canada. So there you go. So Canada Junior A's would be the one would have been the players that could have still transferred to NCAA schools or USHL teams before playing in the major juniors.
Yeah, it's bugging me because the BCHL is the only one that sticks out in my mind, and I don't know why, but I know there's like the Saskatchewan League, which is that same level. There's a couple others.
All right, we will wrap it up there. Next week we will actually get to break down some games. Talk about the old Puckaroos.
So talk about some actual hockey.
It's hockey time. It's right here. Here it is, people. It's here. The weather's going to start getting cooler. We can wear sweaters again and not be sweaty under them. It's good times. I love the fall and the winter. Hate the summer.
We can finally say now it's October.
Mm-hmm. October is here in less than 2 hours. All right. Anyway, weird side notes aside. Yes. Let's wrap. No more Midwest goodbyes. It's the end of the show. There's the YouTube things you can do if you want to. If not, whatever. Until the next episode. Pucks on net. Good things happen like Gold Horns and Fight Songs. We're going. Bye.